어머, 전화가 잘 안 들려서 그래.
Welcome back to the Ajumma Show. It's your host. It's Peter Kim.
And this is Eunji Kim.
That's right. And we are back again with another brand new episode of Ajumma Show. The sun is shining here in LA. Things are the exact same. It's been every fucking week. And,
it continues to be the same. Everything continues to exist in some fashion.
Nothing's the same. I got Szechuan food the other day, and I was excited for about 45 minutes because I was like, something new. I drove out half an hour to Alhambra, which is like the suburbs. You know, it's like saying going to like Niles for you.
Okay.
And so just to get Chinese food, and that moment was so beautiful that I got to be in the car alone.
Ooh.
Just listen to some podcasts, some music, and catch up with some friends.
Yeah.
And then I got some Chinese food, and I got right back to my apartment where I saw the same person I've been looking at every waking and sleeping moment of my life. I just want to say I love my boyfriend.
Yes.
We are more in love than we've ever been.
Yes.
And he is my best friend, and I hope we die together when we're very, very old.
Okay. You don't want to murder him.
No. But I wouldn't mind if he was kidnapped for 7 days.
And that you would be whisked away to a different location as well.
Maybe, you know what? I want to be kidnapped. You know what? Leave him at home. Kidnap me. I'd like to be thrown in the back of a van and then wake up in, I don't know, Bora Bora. Somewhere.
Yeah. I want to be kidnapped,
I want to be kidnapped. Just whisk me out of here.
Yes, because at least you wouldn't have to drive. Like, you just be in the back, trunk or seat, what have you, whatever the van situation
around,
is. Yeah, tossed
like
around.
A bag of potatoes.
That's kind of exciting.
That's
you don't
exciting.
know what's going to happen?
Anything.
Different Vesta?
Truly, I know this is fucking crazy to say, but in LA, a rainy day is like, ooh. It's like something different. It's exciting.
The rains have been insane in the Midwest.
Rain has it? Has it been super stormy?
Yes, very stormy, and also I think it just recently on record as the wettest month ever.
Fuck.
Yeah, ever.
That's fucking.
Have you seen the footage of the shit in Michigan?
The dams breaking?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so crazy. I was just thinking about that. I was looking at the dam breaking video.
Yeah.
And then also thinking about how Flint cannot drink water. It's just I was just thinking I hope somebody in Flint has a way to take rainwater and filter it.
But these dams are fucking up all of that shit too. I mean, this is bad for water all around. I mean,
oh yeah. And people had to evacuate, right? Hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
What a absolute nightmare 2020 has been. And it just continues to outdo itself.
It's biblical.
Truly biblical. I was thinking about that the other day watching Ancient Aliens, and I'm like, come Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Come upon your sheep.
I'm ready.
Beat me up, Scotty. Let's get out of here.
Kidnap me. Take me away, baby. Truly, listen, I am someone, I think you could call me a skeptical science. I believe in aliens.
Uh-huh.
I believe.
Did you see that fucking thing in Brazil?
Yeah!
Mage, hashtag Mage UFO. Bitch. This is top notch.
Go.
I know we get made fun of because, Asian Joe Rogan, but this shit is out of control. When we are when our actual government is declassifying alien information, UFO information, and then we're getting immediate cover-ups in Mage. If you guys haven't seen this whole coverage in Mage, Brazil, hashtag Mage UFO, just look it up on Twitter. Apparently, there's a whole Vice article on it, on how things have been deleted off of YouTube. You can't even find fucking shit on YouTube. And YouTube is used to be the dark web, where it was just nexus of garbage.
Yeah, that's where lies That's where lies go to grow.
Exactly. Yes, that's where fake news proliferates.
Like YouTube is the richest, most nutrient-rich soil that lies grow
That's right.
inside of.
NPK. You guys know I started like planting stuff, so now I constantly hear this term NPK, which is nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, or phosphorus, potassium, and that's like what soil needs for things to be fertile.
Hey, what the fuck is happening over there?
Oh, there's something's backing up. I don't know. There's always something happening on my street. I mean, I'm losing it. I'm completely, and it's not even emotionally. I feel drunk on quarantine.
Yes.
Right? I feel loopy doopy. I'm not sad. I'm feeling manic and cray.
Yes.
Yeah. Truly, I open my, go ahead.
No, I feel like I'm like in my 20s, like that sort of like kind of keyed up. But also, you know what I'm talking about? Where you're just like really keyed up and you also have no control over your life. Like
absolutely.
I just forgot about like getting groceries and like the things that like are just basic things in my life that I'm like very much deeply responsible for, have never had issues fulfilling. I'm looking up from my phone and being like, oh, it's today.
Okay. I'm experiencing the exact same thing. You and I tend to have a very similar track. Art, let me ask you this. Have you or have you not, since quarantine, been having waking flashes of memory?
Deja vu.
Not deja vu.
Yes.
Have you been having a lot of deja vu?
Yes. Like I've been having small snippets of deja vu, but
okay, tell me about small snippets of deja vu, because that's not what usually my deja vus are, right? But I am getting these small little slivers of very clear images / emotional moments from my life apropos of nothing. It's almost my brain is saying, okay, that's one last time you're going to experience that memory, and now it's gone. You know what I mean?
Wait, so you're like experiencing an emotional memory?
And usually it's when I'm doing something like manual. For example, I'm washing my dishes, right? And just like standing there doing my dishes, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I'll get a flash of me on my bed in my sunny studio in Nob Hill, San Francisco, 2008. Boom. Just looking out the window. And that feeling of like, I made it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Just like a sliver moment, nothing. No dialogue. Nothing's actually happening. It's literally have you ever watched, not Red, I watched Red, Yes Please? What's her name? Amy Poehler's book.
Yeah.
This is not, whatever, a spoiler, but in her book, she talks about this idea of memories being like time machines where you can like go back and experience that moment again genuinely.
Yes.
That's kind of what deja vu is, right?
That's what you're describing is like what I'm feeling. Like it's like I will be doing something and I will have I guess it's not deja vu, but I'm having this exact thing where like it feels like a thing I've done before, but I'm having what you're describing, which is like I guess it's like a very strong memory of a past time.
It's like a coding of your amygdala. Let's say, right? Your emotional response of memory is your amygdala.
Yes.
So I'm imagining that's like a burst or something. Like maybe there's like something happening where it's like, and it's just
that's what's happening to all of our brains. That's all my dreams have been fucking
vivid.
Bananas.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Mine too. And they used to be very stressful, and now they're bananas and banal.
Yes.
Right?
I'm truly like having sex. I'm having sex with like multiple people I was like their gym leader for when they were like freshmen, and they're like they're all finger fucking me, and no, I mean truly like insane. But and like some of them I don't even find it. You know what I mean? It's just everyone is finger fucking, or if I'm fucking, and then at this next, and then I'll like get up and then like give a stapler back to a coworker from 2010.
What? That's your dream?
yeah, like completely very
Wow.
banal
Yes.
activities that I have
Yes.
done before, and insane hypersexual things with people and acquaintances I guess sort of remember.
But you never like thought of in that way.
Never.
Yeah. Whoa. That's crazy. Because my dreams have been exactly like that. So vivid and so pointless. Like
Yes.
it's not of worth. There's no narrative quality to it. There's
Mm-mm.
no arc. There's no lesson learned. There's no
No.
out of the ordinary day. It's just normal, ordinary day. I wonder maybe because our brains are becoming mush, I guess. Like, I don't know.
So I was listening to a radio piece about this exact thing because a
What did
lot
you
of people
learn?
are. So our brains are creating interesting things for us to consider. Like it's both doing things that it recalls, like all this like rote memory shit of our lives prior. Like
Uh-huh.
most of us, for which it is work, right? There's so many people having dreams about going to work, doing banal things that they used to do every day.
Yeah.
Like sometimes like going to the workout studio. It's like all these things plus hyper like vivid,
Yeah.
like interesting, weird things that are happening. And again, very not narrative. And it was like this psychiatrist that was like, it's our brains creating interesting things because it needs to remain active. Like even this deja vu
Whoa.
shit is like our brains being like, let's create another, this is what a memory was. This is what it's like to feel.
Oh my God.
Like we need to still do this. Like our brains are helping us. It's intuitively helping us survive. And stay sane.
What do you mean? Why?
Sane.
Why? Oh, stay sane. Because without it, our semblance of normalcy and reality will just break,
Yeah,
and we'll all go crazy.
We'd be too bored.
Because we don't need to work either, like till the soil. So what is that? What does it mean if we haven't uplifted ourselves mentally from tilling the soil and we have nothing left to do? What are we doing?
I mean, it's the reason why people are starting to fucking start plant shit again.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, planting shit. People are making shit. Like we are all like getting back to doing the work of living. The way that previous generations used to do.
Yeah, you're right. I've completely defaulted back to, okay, well, I gotta survive. And truly, I don't have to bake. I could literally buy bread down the street from the bakery that's open curbside every day. And it's better. But if I don't do it, I feel useless. And if I feel useless, that's not good.
That's killing yourself time.
Yes.
That's sanity. That's what it is, right? The utility. Yes. We all have to feel useful. It's the reason why religion is helpful. It's the reason why all of us need work. I mean, like,
yo, is this the perfect time for us to start a cult?
I mean, I think we sort of are, right?
Yes. Our 18-member cult. We're going strong, baby. Now, what I need all of you to do is leave your family and take all your money and send it to @Ajumma Show on Venmo. Yeah, it's crazy that it makes me feel better that this is a thing that globally and cosmically we are all dealing with.
Yes.
That makes me feel better.
Ooh. I mean, it feels especially Jungian to me.
Yes,
like because the collective unconscious shit, and it's like that because also more than ever, so many of our lives are similar in a way that is not like any other point in time in history for quite some time, right? Like so many of our lives are so eerily similar.
Yes,
like we're all quarantined. I mean, like it's. And so that's why the fact that we're all expressing ourselves this way as well, that we're tapping into this dream world and the idea that we're all also tapping into the memories of our lives past. I mean, that's crazy.
This is crazy. Someone should write us like a movie about this. It's
That I mean, I can barely articulate what's happening. So you guys, someone else.
True. But I mean, like, I see the images, you know, like, it's so beautiful. I just keep flashing back to like that moment sitting on my bed in my studio, and I'm like, why was that important? Why is that important now?
Oh, you go back to that specific memory a lot?
No. I'm just saying, like, for example, that memory, right? So
Okay.
another memory I had was a time in Chicago, I was like cold on the train. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's every fucking day in Chicago. But it was this one moment on the Brown line that I remember because it was so clear. And I think you're right. I think my brain is searching for something more interesting than this get up, do the YouTube workout.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, who's making breakfast today? I'll make breakfast today. Yeah, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to put a green sauce on this fucking egg that I put on this bread that I did yesterday. That's different than today. And it's just, yeah. We're all going through it. And thank you so much for listening to us. Where would we be without you? Truly. Okay, let's get into the fucking show. But I'm glad that we got that out of the way. Okay, quickly, thank you so much for your reviews. Keep sending them in. We love them. We'll read them. This review is from Woosta, 3/16/2020, smack in the beginning of the LA/Chicago quarantine.
Yeah.
Twin sister number 2, Nina. Twin sister.
It's the other twin sister.
God, it's the other twin. This is out of control. How these people are the best.
Yeah.
She says, I'm the second sister chiming in. But for real, it was really funny that our Unnie was like freaking out about the shout out being about us because she had heard it before without even realizing it was a reference to us and was envious.
Oh.
Break. Let me just say, to make your Unnie jealous is my highest honor.
Yes. That's also like both of our energies make your Unnie jealous.
Make your Unnie jealous. Make your Unnie jealous. I love that. Please don't lose your edge and keep talking about anything and everything. You know it's good when I will LOL IRL while walking by myself outside. Thank you so much, Nina, twin sister number 2. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yay. Okay. Also, you guys, speaking of, when we met those twin sisters, we were at a live show. Peter and I are doing another live. We're doing an Ajumma show. We're going to be on Zoom live, and it's going to be different. I can't express to you how different it's going to be. It's not going to be your traditional, even the classic Ajumma show from before. It's going to be different.
Totally
We're doing
different.
something different.
If you like come to a live show and you're like, I've seen it. No, you haven't.
You haven't.
You have not.
No.
This is different. It's new.
Totally different. I mean, it's also like a different medium. We're acknowledging what the medium is, and we are acknowledging it, and therefore acting accordingly. Okay, we're not trying to pretend that life is normal.
No,
we're aggressively aware that it's not.
Yes.
So
breathe.
So come register. It's a link in both of our bios on Ajumma show, both of our Instagram bios, also the Ajumma show Instagram. All the links are in the bios. So it's 5/29 next Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central. We're also going to have a special guest stand-up, Nori Reed.
Yes.
So check it out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be different. There's going to be fucking games. There's going to be
participation.
Participation, interactive things. Like this is.
I've been doing so much like cool research for this show, and I'm like very excited to share with you guys. So please, please, please join us May 29th.
Got it. Okay.
With that out of the way, what is going on with you? I know we went through some stuff, but we are.
So the last time we talked, I talked to you about possibly potting out with my parents.
Yeah.
So yesterday they dropped off some groceries, and like I was like gave them some stuff and blah blah blah, and we're talking to each other through the glass. And I'm like, so do you guys want to move here or just come 3 times a week even? Maybe, I mean, like, so basically I would buy all their groceries, so they would stop going to the store.
So they would eat at your house
Mm-hmm.
3 times a week.
And they would just go back and like social distance from everybody and wear their masks and stuff. Because I was like, also understand they have to have their own space.
And they're not going anywhere else?
No.
Okay.
I thought.
What?
So I'm telling them this, and I'm like, you know, if as long as you guys are careful, I like also you guys can move in here. So I'm just giving them options, right? You guys can move here, or you can do this, and you can still live separately and just come like 3 days a week.
Uh-huh.
And my mom's like, yeah, well, you know, your dad is still working at the cleaners.
What? How?
So he's still going to the fucking cleaners 3 times a week, 2 hours every day.
For
what? For what?
Just so he could get out the fucking house. And customers are coming in?
Sometimes.
My God. Oh my God. I thought it was done. I thought it was a done deal.
So it turns out that the landlord asked them to extend their lease. Because also the landlord is going to get fucked too, because no one's going to move during a pandemic.
No one's buying a dry cleaner.
No one's going to buy one. I mean, they weren't going to anyway, but it would have been like someone moving in, opening up a retail store or commercial space inside of the pandemic is an impossibility.
Right.
So he's like just looking for them to just stay there so he can get their fucking rent.
Right.
And so of course they agreed, because my dad's like, oh yeah, okay, I can work. It was like literally the day that I asked them was the day they extended it. And I didn't realize they've been lying to me. So I guess for now 3 weeks.
Oh my God. And your mom hasn't been going?
No, my mom also picking up dry cleaning too. Alterations, because people are bringing in fucking alterations for my dad to do.
Oh my God. So oh my God, that's so crazy.
God. But it's crazy that they lied. And it's also my dad, as I'm talking to him, my dad is like trying to lie to me. It's like, 아니야. Like,
yo, Korean parents are so good at lying. They're like not, oh my God, this is so triggering. But it was just
like flagrant. I was like talking to my mom, and it's becoming clear. Tears are starting to like fat, big tears. Like, it's like,
welling.
You know, has something like, like I'm just like overwhelming, like just tears coming out. My dad's like, trying to be like, oh, 아니야, 안 가는 거야, 우리. 무슨 소리야, 안 가. And it's just like, no, of course you're going. Mm-hmm. You don't care that you won't be able to see your grandson because you need to work.
You need to be useful.
And like, I understand that to a certain extent, because my father like is someone that if he were to ever stop, he would die. Like, you know, one of those things like a shark. Yes.
Yeah.
So if he's not moving, if he's not going to the next thing, he will die. And I think both of us kind of intuitively also understand that. It's kind of part of the reason why this has been so difficult.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm also at a point where I'm thinking, after they left and I was like aghast, realizing there's no way out for me. Like, I think divorces have been put on, like, I can't file because you can't go to court.
Yeah. File what? Divorce from your parents?
Yes, I need to go somewhere.
So you need to be kidnapped out of your goddamn life.
Like, there's nothing I can do. So after I watched that door close, I'm like fucking freaking out, and I'm just like, dude, I was just like, I think I'm just going to have someone come. Like, I'm just going to have a nanny or find someone that's going to come. An improviser that's just like going to just take him outside and run with him for like 3 hours.
Your dad?
No, like someone else. Like an improviser? Somebody?
No. Run with who? Oh, your son?
Yes. I don't care. My dad is literally the most vulnerable fucking person. He's diabetic, old, and like, you know, loves to cough.
Jesus Christ. Why are our parents fucking doing this to us till our last days?
But it's
my mom
now. Wait, go.
Well,
go.
So what's going to happen now with the potting? It's done?
I don't know. I don't know what to do, because also Max's parents cannot, because his elderly grandparents are both like in and out of the hospital. So it's like I just need 3 to 4 hours
Mm-hmm.
to do other work.
Right.
Just like 3 to 4 hours, not even every day. Like
A
at
week.
this point, a week. At this point, I mean, I'd be grateful for anything.
So this isn't really about like taking care of your parents. It's more about needing to free up some time from being a full-time mom
And wife and
and
house
wife.
manager. Yes.
You know what you need? You need like an android. You know what I mean? Like something like a little robot or something that could like jerk your husband off, feed
Yes.
your kid, run around with him in the backyard. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like do the dishes.
the person I've become closest to in my family is my Roomba.
The only responsible one.
Yeah. Like I'm like, oh, you know, like every time it gets stuck on something, I'm like, let me tell you, they don't understand what we do. They don't
Yeah.
understand the work that we do.
Nobody knows the trouble. What a nightmare.
It's true. It's true.
Speaking of potting up, I'm confused because I saw this LA Times article about like, if you want to pot up, this is how you should do. And, you know,
Yes.
it's a lot about like, be honest with each other, make sure that all the stuff's like, you know, discussed at the top. How often are we hanging out? Who else is hanging out? What are you doing? What are you not doing? Once you do
Yes.
something else, how do you talk to each other about it? So it's a lot of that, which is why I haven't potted, because I'm like, I don't want to do any of this. But we have gotten requests from 2 different pods.
Okay.
And that's what's kind of confusing me right now, because it's like you could only choose one pod. You can't be double podding.
No.
That's the whole point of a pod, is to have the trust and say, we're only hanging out with each other. And
Yeah.
I'm realizing that's what I do need, is a small tribe, a group, a village, just another face to see. You know what I mean? Like, I just need something different, as we talked about. So I'm kind of weighing the options of like potting up here, potting up there. I don't know what to do. Do I go with the better house?
I mean, is there an appreciable difference in closeness with the iPod?
Yes. Okay. One pod is closer.
Uh-huh.
The other pod has better features.
Okay. So would you go to live there?
No. Like hangouts. Like
Hang out.
we're
And you would actually
only.
be within 6, you would be within the 6 feet. You guys would be touching. You guys would be open to all that stuff.
Sure, if it comes to it. I don't want to touch anyone right now at all, even if like we both tested and was like bing negative, you know, like,
Yeah.
or even if we both had it. Now, by the way, did you hear it's that good news from South Korea, saying that the people who have been reinfected with corona are now they have enough cases to say that if you have had COVID and you get reinfected with COVID, it will not make you sick, or it will not also transmit to others. So you're walking around antibody safe. You're good. So that is
Do they have a good antibody test yet?
In Korea?
Just period. Does it exist?
I think it does exist. Our antibody tests have been rushed by the FDA. So
No good.
they're like 50% false positives.
Okay.
Which is useless. It doesn't, that means nothing.
Yeah.
But South Korea, obviously doing their thing, has now, I saw yesterday, Lester Holt was reporting on it, and he was saying good news from Korea. And now, obviously, there still needs to be enough of a sample size to make sure that this is like, okay, proven, we can do this now. But, and also there's a vaccine that's working really well coming out of Moderna in America. So things are moving forward, folks. I know life is crazy, but hallelujah, science. We are, you know, we're moving forward and things are getting better. That is the key. Now, with that being said, while we wait till some kind of miracle vaccine or whatever panacea for this thing and we get right back to work, which I don't think is going to happen anymore, but in between, I have to make a decision on how to socialize and how to do it responsibly. And now, with that being said, when I pod up or socialize with people, that means I'm effectively saying goodbye to everyone else. So
I mean,
that's
so
my
you're not going to
problem.
socially you're not going to distant hang.
Like at the park, 6 feet away from each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
That's what I want. I just want to hang out with people 6 feet away outside.
Yeah. Yes.
With nobody fucking coughing or sneezing.
Yes.
That's my ideal. Then I feel like I don't need to pot up. I don't need to hug anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be around people and gossip.
Yeah.
You know, maybe share, even like sharing food for me or like a joint. I'm like, roll your own joint, bring your own food.
The food thing is hard.
Yeah. You want to feed?
But I get it. I want to feed and I want to be fed.
Well, that means then you could only do that with a certain amount of people.
But I don't need it. I would really like it, but I'm very aggressively trying to create an outdoor area on our building so that people can socially distance. So I would like for people to hang out on the ground level and then we can hang out on the deck and just yell at each other.
No. You're not going to hang out on the deck. You're going to be on the ground level 6 feet away. You have to be.
Are you not even doing that?
I'm doing that. There's a park nearby where there's people in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And friends in my neighborhood where I go, hey, going to the park, want to meet?
Yeah.
And it's usually the same area in the park. We put out a little blanket.
Yeah.
I'm doing that after this today, actually. Going to hang out.
Okay.
Rashawn's going to be there.
Ah!
Zach and Susan. Yeah, it's going to be great. But we've always been this kind of like, we're not hugging. We're not sharing chips or where the fuck, you know, like.
But with the pod people, you would be within the 6 feet.
We could go in the house. We could go into the bath, take a bath in their tub. You know, like it could do anything. Like, so one's a like kind of a gayer pod where it's like, I don't know, if things happen, things happen.
Yeah.
And one's
it's a gayer, a more adult pod.
Yeah, it's an adult pod.
Yeah, NC-17.
Yeah. Yes, no children under 17. And the other pod is PG, but closer emotionally.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the dilemma for this week, hon. What do I need?
What do you need?
I need emotional closeness.
Okay.
More than
a possibility
of like being touched by another. Like I could never be touched by another person for the rest of my life and I'll be okay. I'm good, hon.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I'm kind of there too. I just need people to like flatter me and pay attention to me.
Yes, that's exactly it. I just need to be able to hold court for like 30 minutes to 3 hours a week.
That was such a big 30 minutes and 3 hours.
Hey, once you're on a roll, you're on a fucking roll, you know? Like one good session, I'm good for a week, you know? Anyway, if you guys are potting up, let us know. Email us at ajummashow@gmail.com.
Yeah, let us know.
DM us, you know, whatever. We want to know how you're potting up. This is a crazy time for all of us. So, yeah, let us know. Oh, by the way, Laugh Quilt is done. So I'm going to send it to you first. It sounds kind of like a laugh track, which is really like nice to me. And thank you so much for sending in your laughs. We're going to be debuting that first on the Patreon and for everyone else later. But thank you so much for sending this.
What's this hot tub show thing?
Oh, did I write about that? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, okay. Hot tub. The Hot Tub Show is a big show here in LA. It's run by Kristen Shaw, Kurt Brownell. Yeah. So it's a show that I've loved and wanted to be part of for so long. And I submitted many times, and many times they're like, yeah, right. Like, just get in line, hun. So, and respectfully, I never said, oh, how dare you? Like, I get it. It's a big show. It's like it show. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And every 6 months I was like, by the way, hello. And they'd be like, you gotta wait. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sitting here. And then I remember right before quarantine, right before I came to see you guys in Chicago and I was going to Grand Rapids, I got booked on Hot Tub.
I didn't know
Finally. Yeah. but I had to bow out because I was going to Chicago. I was
Right.
like, I got to fly out Thursday and, you know, whatever. So they were like, okay. I was like, they were like, no worries, next one. And I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
that feeling of like, oh, I fucked up.
I
But also
need
like,
this. Yeah.
I have to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
So fast forward to this week, they reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to be on the digital show in June? So I got very excited.
Yeah.
But also, and in the language was very like, we get it if you don't want to do it. This isn't for all the comics. So clearly,
Yeah.
comics are complaining about how this sucks, right? Of course, it
Yeah.
does fucking suck.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I'm excited, but also I know it's not the right thing, but I should do it, right? Like I should
Yes.
just do it and, you know, have the most amount of fun I could have doing it. And
Is it a Zoom show or is it an IG Live?
Zoom on Twitch.
That's
So,
good.
I don't know if that's good. It would be like if we're Zooming with the comedians, but all the people watching are on Twitch. So you can't, you know what I mean? It's not like what we're going to do with Ajumma, where like we're going to turn on people's mics. Like, that's the thing, is that this is only like the digital versions of these shows, because of the unpredictability of people's mics and whatever cameras, is that it makes it a one-way relationship. They're just consuming us. We don't get the response back. And that's, for me, that's 90% of comedy is this. My clever wording of my jokes is 3%.
So, yeah, for me,
even less. You've seen it. You've seen my subtitles.
I mean, like, it's a lot. The thrust of it is going outward, and then like, like, I mean, the content is, you know, it is what it is. But it's more about this dance, baby.
Yeah, we're doing this thing, and that's what I like about our shows and what we're doing. But you know, I understand as far as like industry wise, these are things we ought to be doing. It's the same thing as like, gotta get up, gotta stay present, and also you gotta work on your, you know,
things,
your own jokes. Like, where else are you gonna do it? So I said yes, and I'm excited to do it. And then I got a note from a friend who was like, hey, Hollywood Improv is doing these open mics. They want to keep an eye out on talent, and the bookers are watching these open mics. And I'm like, it's really starting to like, I'm starting to wonder, like, is this the right thing? Like, quarantine has hit, and you and I are talking about, like, let's evolve. Let's turn it into this thing, a new, brave new world. But half of me is stuck in this old world of like, oh, should I be showcasing for bookers? Like, bookers for what? What am I doing?
For what shows? Where are we?
That's what I mean. So I don't know. I'm like really stuck in this space where I'm like, okay, as a comic, I ought to be using this time to work on my material.
Yes.
But the other side of me is like, I'm not getting anything out of this. So why?
You know what? I agree. I agree if you really don't get anything out of it. For me personally, some of these Zoom shows personally I've done have sustained me. Once a week is enough. Another week for me is more than enough. Because of the way that it is. But as a result, I think I can't ever get really good at it. But also, if moving forward, this is the reality, then this is something we're going to have to try to get good at. Like, this is just another, I've thought about it. And I just think that this is like another tool. Like, we're going to, especially moving forward, if there are going to be some hotspot cities, and there's like some places you won't be able to go, or like LA might be have another spike like this. You just have to be prepared. Like, a lot of the shows, let's say even if we get to stage 4, might need to go back to stage 2.
Right.
And you might have booked shows I mean, this is just going to be some shit that you have to be prepared for.
Right. I
Like,
think
if you
that's
wanna
what I'm
continue doing this.
mostly bucking up against is like, it's almost the stubborn part of me is saying like, well, if it's not going to be what I do comedy for, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then the
I
other
mean, some
side of
people
me
have,
is like,
pivoted to content. Some people have totally pivoted to different content.
yeah. And I think about that a lot because I'm like, you know, I don't do comedy to do other things. I don't do comedy so I can get, I don't know, on a show. I do comedy because I like it, because I am good at
Do
it.
comedy.
I
Yeah,
do comedy.
Comedian. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, the other stuff is only help sustain you do the comedy.
right. And the help, now that that's been kind of cut off, like especially with this Hollywood improv thing, it's like, oh, make sure you're top of mind for bookers when this all comes back. When what comes back to what? We're going to be, you're telling me like I should be showcasing in front of you because I might get a chance to do your Zoom show? Hun.
I mean, also being in an enclosed space with like inebriated people, like 200 inebriated people laughing
Ugh.
is to me truly a nightmare. You know, like
That's all I want right now. You know what I want? I want to be in Korea and be in a 200-seat theater of everyone who's had corona.
yeah.
And I know that's, a lot of people are saying that's the new like status.
Yes.
Like, I'm good. I've had it. Peace. I could go into this like club and enjoy myself.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Post-COVID. Yeah.
Post-COVID. Poco.
Okay.
That's my dream. I just want to have a Poco show where I'm sad that anyone has to go through COVID, but let's say you and I and like 100 other people already went through it and we didn't know. Oh, that little tickle. Oh, that was COVID. Oh, okay. Now we could hang out and play.
I probably did have COVID. Remember how sick I was for how long I was sick?
I'm saying.
Yeah.
We get the antibody check, right? And then we're like, oh, we've had it.
Yeah.
Tra-la-la-la-la. And we're like going around doing a tour, Poco tour. I mean, that sounds fun, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh, now you've just created a scenario that I'm now wistful for.
A dream.
A dream. It's like your dream makes me wistful? What the fuck?
All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, guys. Now, I have some really shitty news. This is something that's all over the papers. That's all over the news articles out there. Mr. Chung-woong, An Chung-woong, 74-year-old elderly Korean man. So here's the story. ICE, the immigration police, if you will, said An was lawfully admitted to the United States as a permanent resident in 1988, and then he was in 2013 convicted for attempted murder with an enhancement for using a firearm. Now, this feels like 1880 and it's Alameda County, California. This feels like, I don't know the exact story, but he was probably a store owner with a gun, maybe some kind of like residual racial bias towards Black people type of situation, right? I could already see it. He was sentenced for 10 years for this crime in a state prison. And when he was released, a federal judge denied a request for bond last week while he was in deportation proceedings. So he was getting deported after being lawfully admitted as a permanent resident. And because he was being detained, he was at ICE in Bakersfield. And since February 21st, he was detained there. He had diabetes, hypertension, heart-related issues. And his younger brother has been begging and pleading the courts for him to be released and pleas from a coalition of attorneys to be released on bond, which was always denied. Well, he was found dead and in apparent suicide, self-strangulation. And this is and he was begging to be let out because of corona. He was like, this guy and his brother, all these people were like, this guy's fucking sick. Yes, he is a convicted felon. He did his time for his crime. He was released, and then you put him in fucking ICE, detained to detained, and he's like, I'm gonna die in here because of this fucking corona thing. I'm 74. I'm immunocompromised. Let me out on, but someone will be responsible for my 74-year-old ass to not flee. Where would he go, especially in times like these? And they said, no, no, no. And he ended up taking his own life in the detention center. And this is so fucked up. Imagine the suffering that this old harabaji was dealing with in there, feeling completely lost, dejected, alone, from detainment center to a worse detainment center, being treated like garbage by ICE. We need to fucking abolish ICE. They are the modern day SS, and they need to be fucking put on trial. This is disgusting what they're doing. And apparently, in a recent study, they I forgot what the exact number. I should have wrote it down, but it was almost 50% of detainees who were tested for coronavirus were tested positive. Almost half.
Wow.
That is out of control. And there are young children without their parents. I mean, it's really breaking my heart.
Yeah.
This is disgusting. So I just wanted to shed light on this story and, sending my thoughts and, prayers, I guess. If I do pray, I don't pray, but, I'm thinking about the An family right now and thinking about what if this happened to my grandfather. Like, I'd be so fucking outraged and not even be able to go out or go to court or go and do anything. This really feels like rat in a rat race, kind of like disgusting. So, read about it. I think it's a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. And you know what? This is the making of like Hani michata, when they say like Korean ghosts haunt because of this Han.
Yes.
No disrespect to this harabaji's life, but I would love it if he was just the reason to become a fucking petty ass, like rageful ass Korean ghost and come back and haunt the motherfucking shit out of these ICE agents and the entire White House.
Oh
Amen. That's what I want.
Korean ghosts are the scariest ghosts.
Korean ghosts. Because
they 정말 like really like those kind of 귀신 are fucked up.
Fucked up. Because they're dealing with pain first. It's trauma.
Whenever I think of ghosts and stuff like that, it's always
Yes. In a white nightgown. Always in some kind of like
Yeah. It's always she's always died a long time ago. Or she was killed doing a recreation. She was I mean it's so scary.
So scary. That they call burkishin because they're always like
yes,
drowned girls or like
yes.
Very ringu. Yeah. Anyway, that was like it's a fucked up story, and it's happening to Latinx, Mexican Americans, or people who are immigrants much more than it is Koreans. But nonetheless, like this really hits home for us. So I think this is a really good time for us to, like, if you have some money to donate, to Raices or Texas and stuff like that, like this is a good time to do it. If you do have money. I mean, I know we are like,
if the idea of death is preferable to staying where you are, where the idea that
the death was a release for him.
I mean, like, let's just get real here. I mean, notwithstanding all the things that he was guilty of, like proven guilty, but like, I mean,
also it was attempted murder, by the way. He did not die.
Yes, he tried. So you gotta give him some credit.
E for effort.
But I mean, like, it's just like, I mean, and so it's happening with so many people inside of all types of detainment, like from prison, jail.
Yeah.
Like these are close quarters. No one is being helped. These are the most vulnerable populations in our modern society.
Yeah.
And like, this is a really sad instance of it affecting the Korean community, but this is a fucking problem.
It's a
like
fucking
across
problem.
the board.
It's a national problem. It's a national fucking embarrassment.
Yeah.
And a story like this really makes me rethink this whole like, my life is so loopy. Like at least we are free.
Oh God,
I gotta go to the park and see the same 6 people.
I can't eat any more avocado toast.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
Actually, what I was gonna talk is crazy, but I've been reading a lot of stuff about very specifically Asian focused race crimes, like hate crimes right now inside of the Corona era.
Yeah.
And like I'm sure inside of a lot of these detention camps, like everyone that's Asian is like also being like really highlighted and targeted for a lot of this sort of racism. And it's like very bizarre. So I've been reading a lot of them, and I was reading this one about this guy who was like, it's like this like inter-Asian thing that's like, I want to make sure that people know that I'm not Chinese, or I want, you know what I mean? Like that's what one of these articles was saying. It's like I felt this like overwhelming need to like.
What was he?
He's Korean. And he was like, I wanted to make sure that like people knew that I'm not Chinese.
I mean, we all had that thought, of course.
Yes.
Like not me. Like of course.
And so it's also this weird moment where like everyone, like it's funny because so this article I was reading in the Nation was about, she points out the fact that we are certainly as Asian Americans conspicuously visible.
Mm-hmm.
We're very visible, and we are traditionally a racial minority that is accustomed to being pretty invisible.
Mm.
And not only that, but like then having this inter-Asian sort of like making sure that people know that we're not Chinese. And the thing is, it's not just about now. It's always been like that.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
You're always trying to prove that you're not only not Chinese, or it's always like you're not whatever people in your area do not like. Right? Like I'm not Filipino, I'm not Cambodian, I'm not this, I'm not Korean, right? Yeah. Like that's like a lot of this idea. And so this article goes deep into this idea of like inter-Asian stuff and accepting your own identity. It's basically a review of this book by this woman named Catherine who? No, what is this? No, Hong. Who is the lady who wrote this article? But it's a book. It's called Minor Feelings: An Asian American Reckoning. It's by Kathy Park Hong, and she is like one of these Asian people that did not like being clumped in. With all the other Asians in her school or wherever she was. She really risked against this. Okay. And so it's just her reckoning with this. And
interesting.
And I will say that though there's this moment where she talks about realizing, because she like becomes an academic and most of her cachet is built through this Asian American identity, and that's a lot of her writing, and she poses these questions, and I think they're like really resonant with like where we are right now, like you and I, even where we are with our own identity. Also, she realizes and comes to understand her own Asian American identity through friendship, and you and I have really done that on this very podcast.
This entire podcast is built on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like it's that truly, and even more so, even not just between the two of us, because so many Asian Americans through Ajumma have reached out to us, we found like meaning in doing this podcast through connection with others and giving them the same sort of insight. And that's what she was realizing. It's like she started doing this poetry, and this like girl at some random Midwestern college like came up to her and just was like, you are really important to me. And
wow.
Yeah, I mean, we've experienced this too, you and I. I mean, it's like,
oh yeah,
this is how we recognize. I mean, truly, like,
I immediately forget. But like I am
Yes.
wowed anytime someone emails us. By the way, we are sorry if we haven't gotten back to you on your very thoughtful emails.
yes.
Trust that we are reading all of them. We just have like a lot of stuff that we
Yeah.
have to get back to.
Yeah.
We trust that we love you and we have read it. And it is sometimes I go back into Ajumma inbox and reread emails that are sent to us to
Yeah.
remind myself of the fact that there are people watching, there are people listening, and there are people out there who need to connect. And while you and I connect, and a lot of people tell us that they just like to sit and listen as if we're not like doing a show for, because like we always do this where we go like, Omo, welcome to the Ajumma show, and we do a show, and then we go right into like, okay, so this is the thing. I don't feel like we're ever. I don't ever really think about us doing a show. This never ever felt like something for anyone else.
No.
Because of that, whenever someone does get something out of it, it's a immense bonus for the both of us. Because I'm like, holy shit, like it's a tremendous feeling of like, it's sometimes overwhelming to know that someone else's life is impacted by me screaming and.
Outside of the person that you're screaming at.
Yeah, based on who I'm screaming about. That's truly like, that's all I need in life.
I mean, it's like, it's that, and that realization inside of this was like, of course, everything about our own personal Asian American identities that we're reckoned with, it's so much of it is about how we interact with other Asian American people and how we are able to ingest our place among. And so like we've talked about it all the time on this podcast about the plurality, and I think now we're getting to a point inside of our culture where we just are no longer just Asian American. We can be specifically Korean American, we can be specifically like, and even inside of that there's a plurality, right?
So
like,
much,
and so there's these series of questions that this woman asked, and I just want to say, read them all out, just to put them out there, because I really thought as a creative exercise, I found them really resonant. Is, can I write honestly, not only about how much I've been hurt, but how I have hurt others?
Ooh.
And can I do it without steeping myself in guilt, since guilt demands absolution and is therefore self-serving? In other words, can I apologize without demanding your forgiveness? Where do I begin? And so,
wow.
Ooh. Yes. And so much about her reckoning with her identity was about guilt, feeling guilty about how she acted before, about asking for forgiveness. And so much about Asian American culture is about forgiveness, like asking for it, and guilt, and like being ashamed, and then seeking redemption for what I feel shameful about.
Yeah.
And so much about, and I think so much of what is good about you and I is that we don't ask for that forgiveness too often, because that shame is what we like to talk about on stage.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's what, if I didn't have that about me, I don't know what I would talk about. I don't find myself to be that interesting besides the things that I think are fucked up about me, about how I behave / about how I allow other people to behave towards me. That's like my entire artistic, brand. That's all it is. And I thank God that you and I have the personality to be like, up front, this is how I am, love it or leave it. And most people end up leaving it.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice way to filter out the people who are important to you, is to be completely honest and let them decide, not to coax them into like, oh, do you want me to be this? Can I be this for you? Oh, maybe I'll compromise and do this. It's like, it's such a cool thing you brought up, because it makes my life so much easier to just be like, here's who I am. And for someone to be like, okay, I'm in. And then for me to never imagine why you're in, because I haven't shown you anything but the truth.
Wow. Yes. Yes.
But so much of my life, when I was deeply closeted and Christian and all that, I live towards something. I wanted people to not shame me.
Mm-hmm.
Now all I want is to be shamed. Oh yeah, baby, make me feel bad. Trust me. The trick is
Yes,
if I make my
Daddy.
yes, daddy, try to punish me. If and not in like a self-flagellation way, but like I think as artists we have flagellated ourselves
Yes.
and dug, like what this lady said, like, can you talk about the shit that's fucked up, and more importantly, can you talk about the shit that you were fucked up to others you've done? If you can live with that, then you're scot-free.
Yes.
There's nothing could even touch you.
You're already flying, baby.
You're
already flying. And so that's why this book, the way that she was approaching it, it seemed like very interesting, about a person that has a very complicated relationship. I think our relationship with it is like a little less wrapped up in this sort of stuff because of
Sure.
where we grew up.
Uh-huh.
But the way that she described how she folded in her Asian Americanness into her creative process with this like writing honestly, that stuff was very interesting. And I think if you're a creative Asian person, sounds like a very interesting book. It brought, even the fucking book review was like, it brought up a lot of things, especially in this time of COVID, where so much about our Asian American identity is also happening inside of APAH month. And also the PBS Asian Americans series that was released. So like there's been a lot of conversation about Asian American experience in America.
Yeah.
So like I just think that all of us are kind of thinking about, I think I have certainly, because of the content, been thinking a little more about it. This was a very interesting article. Check it out. And that was it. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Kick-ass Koreans, y'all. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Who do you got today?
I got my kick-ass Korean is, so I was researching, like we always do, the kick-ass Koreans. And this woman actually was like, made the documentary about another kick-ass Korean that I'm going to do next time. But I was like looking this woman up and I was like, oh, very cool. Her name is Tae-shil Kim. Kim Ta-shil hyphen Gibson, married a white guy. But she was born in 1938. So she was born in North Korea.
Okay.
And she is a documentary filmmaker, and she focuses on specifically human rights and overlooked periods in history and the Asian American diaspora very specifically. So she wrote a book and made a film of the same name called Silence Broken, Korean Comfort Women. We've all seen it. She's a documentary filmmaker. It's the woman.
She's the woman who directed it?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow, I
know.
didn't realize there would be another Korean woman.
Yes,
I guess
exactly.
I should have, but like it came out a long time ago, right?
Yes, and that's the thing. Is like I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. We've all seen these clips. We know this fucking movie.
This tour to my school, and
yes,
as part of the Korean Student Association member, as like a treasurer, I helped bring this tour to our campus.
I mean, and it's a woman. I mean, it's like, and she's like older woman. She's 81 or 82 now. So like, what's crazy is, so she's been recognized by the Rockefeller. She's got a Rockefeller Fellowship. She's got stuff with PBS, MacArthur Foundation stuff. She has won the Kodak Filmmaker. I mean, she's won a lot of shit. Okay, so she's born in North Korea. In 1945, they move across the parallel to South Korea, and they're very into the Korean independence movement and are really big Christians. Okay. So she ultimately moves to Boston, attends Boston University, where she gets her PhD. So she's like a 목사딸.
Oh, okay.
She gets her PhD. Yes, she's like obtains her PhD in religious studies, and so she's like you can see she's like a fancy. Almost everyone from North Korea was like fancier, you know.
Yeah, you got out. You had money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is in the 60s, from 1969 to 1978. She graduates from Boston University and then teaches religion at a Seven Sisters school, Mount Holyoke.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Mount Holyoke was like my dream school to go to.
Was it?
Yeah. Wow. It's like kind of crazy.
You would really like an all girls liberal arts. Yeah, Haven.
I mean, yeah, it's like, of course, it's like there's so many things now where I'm just like, oh, clearly I was gay. Like,
Yeah, you're like, let me get out of this so I could just be around smart girls. Yeah.
like hairy, smart girls.
Yes.
I,
Yes.
like, when I think back to my high school room, it's like I had huge pictures of Eleanor Roosevelt. Like, huge,
Ah!
like what was like fucking duh.
Yeah.
Anyways,
The original Power Dyke.
yes. So she did all of this, and then now this film that I very specifically was citing is called Saigu.
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 Yeah.
And so
429.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like it was this is the one where she interviews people from the LA riots.
Mhm.
And so it's like storekeepers and all specifically women. And so she currently lives in New York, but like I just wanted to highlight her because one, what a fucking badass.
Amazing.
Like in a time and of a time where
Yeah.
like notwithstanding just being a woman, being Korean, being an immigrant,
Mhm.
you know, and being very religious, and
Yeah.
also like recognizing that even at that point in like the 60s that this was like a story that deserved to be heard.
Yeah. So ahead of her time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and this is like the thing that goes back to what I was talking about before, which is like as long as you're talking about your truth, you are of no time. Right?
You know, that's so cool that you just said that because I have been thinking about how many kick-ass Koreans we have done.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are queer / femme
Yes.
leading because that's just us, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that we never run out of these people, and every time we do it, we're like, wow, ahead of our time. Wow, so brilliantly prophetic, or like, I wish there was more of this. There were. We just weren't told about them. So it really makes me go, oh, I just have to look a little bit. I don't have to let fucking KBS television or whoever the fuck YouTube tell me who's important. There are important people out there, and they are the people I want to relate to.
Yes.
Queer, femme, badass, you know, trend setting. These are the people that I enjoy, and that makes me feel good about being Korean. And that's the coolest thing about this, is that we never run out. You always think we're like, oh, who am I going to do? Oh, there's plenty of people that are cool, femme, and queer. And my kick-ass Korean is just that person. This person, his name is Kim Young-long, but their drag persona name is Nana Young-long Kim. At Nana_Young-long Kim. Check him out. I happened upon her on a YouTube video.
Okay.
And because
I've
been watching a lot.
Like one of those makeup
not
ones?
A makeup one. It was like one of those like I forgot who did it, but it was her and another drag queen, and they were maybe in Canada or something, and they were meeting Koreans for the first time, but the Koreans would walk in like this with like their eyes closed, and they would sit down, and the producer would be like, "Oh, 왼쪽으로 돌리시고,
yeah,
okay, 1, 2, 3, 눈 떠보세요," and they open their eyes and they record their reaction. And so much of the reaction is obviously shock, because that's the last thing you're thinking. But almost immediately, every single person's like, oh, 어머, 너무 아름다워요.
Yeah.
Oh, 너무 이뻐. So beautiful, gorgeous. And this was a video that really like shook me. And I was like, oh my God, there's good in the world. There's positivity. And she was one of these drag queens. Yes. Hot. Okay.
Yes.
She considers herself a drag artist. She is a trendsetter. She is a fabulous queen. She's a fucking bad bitch and hot oppa.
Yeah.
Okay? Hot guy. This person is, I can't figure out who's hotter, the boy or the drag girl.
Yeah.
They're both stunting. Okay. Young-long Kim, Nana Young-long Kim performs in LGBTQ scene in Itaewon, all over Japan and China. They say about a decade ago, there were still many haters who were slamming me. He said even the gay community was unaccepting and shaming him for going around in drag because that's too sissy. Drag,
Ah.
dressing up in girl. So drag is so. I mean, obviously Korea is still hugely behind. This one stat really blew my mind. According to the Korean Society of Law and Policy on Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity, SOGI, S-O-G-I, South Korean Rainbow Index, that's what it is, which measures the LGBTQ rights in various countries. It was 11.7% in 2018, only a bit higher than Russia's, which is 10.9%.
Yeah.
This is striking for such a first world leading country as far as technology and culture. All right. When I read this article that Vice did on Nana, while they were talking and interviewing, 3 guys passed by during their interview and yelled, "Are you a dude? Gross." Like saying horrible shit to him. And without even flinching, Nana was like, "Thank you, bitch." And this is the type of queenery that I want to highlight. Okay. They conclude it by saying, "I can't help if you don't understand it. I feel happy if I have people who love me. I am busy taking care of those people. When you hate on me, I will love my loved ones even more." Hallelujah. Amen. And that's it. Give it up. Go check them out. Follow them. They an incredible Instagram presence.
Yes.
He does Instagram live out of drag and is cursing like a motherfucking sailor the entire time. And I am here for it. I live. He is so badass. He spent time in New York, like 4 years in New York, I think, going to college. So speaks like pretty good English. And the last Insta live I saw him, he was just like sitting there, like beautiful skin and just being like, "Ay, 백인 새끼들이," you know, and she started saying all this shit about like what white people have been saying and like how like, and absolutely eviscerating white people on YouTube, all in Korean, "이 개 존나 새끼들," and just like going in. And I was like, oh my God, I have been looking for a mentor. And she is it.
Wow, I'm following.
Nana Youngno Kim. Yes, that's it. All right. Well, that's our show. Let's close it out with anything to plug. Oh, besides the Ajumma show. I know, May 29th. May 29th. Get on the Eventbrite. Register, please. Don't do it last minute because it will sell out. Our show sell out, honey. Sorry about it. No, but please register so that we know how many people are going to be there. We're so excited to do these games. Anything else you want to plug out there? Anything coming up? No? Well, I'm going to be on the Hot Tub Show on June. I'll post about it later, but if you have time, come watch it on Twitch and it'll be fun. All right. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.